Welcome to Dog Explaining, where we break down what your dog is really trying to tell you. I'm Dana, a canine coach and holistic wellness specialist focused on nutrition, energy work, and essential oils. I'm on a mission for your dog to eat better, feel better, and live longer.
And I'm Angela. I'm your 456 wellness and behavior coach, focusing on helping you understand the connection between 4 balls, 5 elements, and 6 fun tricks.
We're here to help you connect the dots, behavior, food, health, and everything in between, with honest conversations and straight talking guidance.
If you're ready to get past the noise and actually understand what your dog needs you to know, you're in the right stand. What your dog needs you to know, you're in the right place. Now here's today's Dog's Land episode. Welcome.
Hi everybody, I'm Dana Brigman of the Well-Oiled Canine, and I have with me Angela Keith and Nancy Lilly. We'll let them introduce themselves in a minute. But we are here for Dog Explaining, and today's topic is going to be about canine massage and therapies in that line of work with our guest Nancy. So I'll let Angela introduce herself, and then Nancy, you follow straight on in with your intro, and we'll come back and get started.
Well, as Dana would say, hi friends, because we're all friends. I'm Angela. Like Dana said, I'm with 456 Canine Coach. I'm based here just north of Wilmington, and so I'm trying to spread the Dana knowledge a little further up the coast. And we're very excited to have Nancy here today. I do lots of body work with my personal animals, and so this is going to be very interesting.
Awesome. Yeah, we are excited to have Nancy here. So Nancy, tell us a little bit about your business, where you're located, and what you do.
Okay. My business is Whiskers to Toes, the number 2. I'm located in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I have been certified for almost 8 years. But my journey started long before that. I started out in my 20s in vet school, pre-vet to go to vet school. I was always into animals and physiology and science and biology. And so that felt like the right course for me to go head towards vet school. Then I got married. And so vet school was a non-starter. He was a Marine. Fast forward many years, and I was showing horses, still involved in animals, showing horses. I had a Springer Spaniel that had severe hip dysplasia at a year, and a horse with imbalanced hips that consistently didn't perform well. So with the dog, I found an acupuncture vet who would come to my home and work on the dog. And I'm like, whoa, this is working. This dog doesn't have pain. The horse, same thing, acupuncture vet, chiropractic vet, massage therapist. And I was like, whoa, these modalities make a world of difference. And I'm not giving drugs to my animals. Fast forward a few more years, I go into the contracting world, working on finance. I'm very good at numbers. It's very analytical, but my heart was stagnant and I was suffering mentally. And I took a course for pet parents at our local emergency center. They offered a massage for senior dogs. And my dogs were 6 Great Danes, so definitely what the world considers senior.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is fun. My dog likes this. And I don't even know if the woman was a certified massage therapist. I know nothing. I'm pretty sure she was a rehab therapist. I don't know what her background in massage was. They're different. Rehab versus massage. There is a element involved in rehab, but they're different.
Sure.
Then a little bit later, I took a course, an all-day workshop by, in my area, well-known equine and canine massage therapist, and thought, this is my life. This is what my hands need to do. So I did a bunch of research, found an on-site course that was relatively local, with a woman that had 20 plus years experience and in teaching. Not only teaching canine and equine massage therapy, but also she taught piano. She was a concert pianist. So I knew this woman had compassion, a gentleness to her, and I thought, yep, that's for me. So took the courses, and it was a great experience. So I started my practice shortly after that, and I will tell you, the very first 5 or 6 clients I had, I was like, oh my God, I have no idea what I'm doing. But you do. You just have to trust yourself. I've taken the courses. I know what I'm doing. I have the background. I passed all the tests. I'm certified. But it's still terrifying. You're touching somebody else's dogs, right?
Sure.
So yeah, I got over that. I finally realized, yes, I do know what I'm doing and I'm helping. I think the way I really knew I was helping animals was one of my early on clients. Well, I had 2 beneficial clients. One was someone who had been massaged with the dog, had been massaged for many years by the woman I first took that workshop from. So the dog was comfortable with massage. And she, although my technique was probably a little bit different, I learned therapeutic massage versus just Swedish massage or just myofascial release. I learned therapeutic sports massage. And that instructor also taught me how to adapt to non-sports related cases. But for me, that the therapeutic sports thing, that was it for me, because I could help an athlete in my brain at the beginning. But my second most important case was a dog that came to me with a cruciate ligament tear. And they called me on a Saturday morning and said, can you come do a comfort massage? We're having our dog put to sleep on Monday. I'm going to cry. And I thought, I don't know if I can do this. But I said, sure, I'll come. And it was a 13-year-old pit bull, 12-year-old pit bull. And he was 3-legged and in pain. And so I did the comfort massage, just a gentler version of therapeutic massage. And they called me the next morning and said, oh my God, he got up. Can you come back? I thought, okay.
Oh, wow.
I came back the next day, did it again. Like he was too old in their mind. They weren't going to do surgery. They were just going to have him put to sleep. So I go the next day, Sunday, go through the whole thing again. The dog was like, touch me more, touch me more. The next morning they called me and said, we're having surgery. We're going to give him a chance.
He wasn't ready.
So, yeah, I was like, oh my God. After I bawled my eyes out leaving, thinking I'm never going to see this dog again, right? So I know you guys talked to Jennifer Carter recently. This was before I knew there was an alternative to surgery, so I was supporting them in the surgical route, right?
Right.
But I knew that post-surgical massage, laser, which by that time I was laser certified as well, I knew those things could help that dog. So we set up a protocol. We worked with the vet and supported the dog in the rehab with massage and laser. So 11 days in, I'm like, these staples are falling out. And they're like, yeah, we're supposed to go get them out in 14 days. I was like, okay. So they go back to the vet 14 days to get the staples removed. There were no staples left. The surgical site had healed. And the vet says, how did this happen? Like, no, none of the dogs we work on heal this fast, that the staples literally fall out. And she said, well, the dog's been getting massage. Back up. The dog was also moving really well, like no compensatory issues. We had supported all that. But the vet's like, I don't understand. And she said, well, she did laser on the surgical site. She didn't massage it, but she lasered the surgical site while she supported the rest of the body. And she said, you've got to be kidding me. A laser did this and massage has kept this dog in this shape. And she's like, keep doing what she's doing. I was like, yay, I know what I'm doing.
That's
so
awesome.
that sort of kicked me off in not just supporting everybody's, your everyday pet, your average healthy dog, but it also sort of put me on a path to find good protocols and better ways to help dogs who are injured in different ways. CCL tears, luxating patella, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
you mentioned therapeutic massage. I want you to explain that a little bit, but now you brought up protocols. Are there certain things you do for certain conditions that are very specific?
There can be.
Okay.
So when you first are certified, you're taught a specific method of going through your massage, starting at the ears, working down the legs, back to the tail. There's the reason for that is when you're doing a massage, you are stimulating the circulatory system, you're stimulating the lymphatic system, you're creating energy around the nervous system.
Right.
You're introducing energy into the cells, which is what heals our bodies, what sets up recovery after exercise. The lymphatic system depletes or dispenses with the toxins in our body. So you're creating a specific directional flow for all those things so that they work their way through the dog's body. You just don't work on the injury here, work on the injury back there. Sorry, I'm really handsy.
No, you're fine.
But
I do too.
but you work on a systematic method of it's actually the chi flow of the acupuncture meridians. So you're supporting this top to bottom, whiskers to toes sort of situation through the dog's body. Let me back up and say massage is not just about canines. There's equine massage therapists. There are feline massage therapists, canine, of course. I have worked on dogs, cats. I got a 2-day-old lamb to walk. I worked on chickens. It's small animals, but there's different touch, there's different intensities, and different structure to each physiological being in front of you, how you're going to work on that. And then you can work on, go ahead.
No, finish your statement.
You're working on muscle, but you're also working on the fascia that surrounds the muscle, which is underneath the skin and surrounds the entire body. So you're supporting this whole body health. So go ahead with your question.
With the dog that was scheduled for euthanasia that didn't, when you did that first massage, what was your experience? Because I think we're all a little bit intuitive. So did you pick up on anything? And what do you think was the turning point in the dog? What do you think that led him to that said, I'm getting up from here?
Yeah. So massage, misconception to massage is it's not just petting your dog.
Right.
It's not just heavy petting. It's very specific. It's very much more gentle to start than you would actually think. So I started very calmly, just stroking through his body, paying attention to how does he react when I touch here? How does he, what is his facial expression? Does he move his body away from me? Does he push into me because that feels good? Are his eyes questioning, watching everything I'm doing, or is he like, oh yeah, okay? That particular dog, I worked through every single one of his muscles. He was an older dog. He had a lot of issues, which is probably what caused the cruciate tear in the first place. The body was not in a healthy stasis. And I just worked on the tight places away from the specific injury. That's not, when a dog is injured, you're not going to want to work that specific injured area. So I worked on all the other muscles around to make him feel better. And mostly with the intention in my mind of creating an endorphin release that would help him with the pain, because at that point they really didn't have pain meds on the dog yet. I sort of followed my normal protocol and focused on the other parts of his body, his shoulders, his back, his hips, that were really tight and clearly painful from the initial touch.
Well, and all those areas start to compensate for the injury, right? So it carries a lot more pain and muscle tension in those areas too.
Correct. Especially the opposite diagonal forward portion. Or if it's a shoulder injury, it's the opposite backward hip and leg. So paying attention to those, which area is tightest, and learning where those compensations are and working through those can help that dog. But yeah, he must have enjoyed what happened. His body felt better, endorphin release, probably lymphatic release because all the toxin buildup in his body. And when he got up, he was like, okay, I'm going to try to stand and try to move around.
That's awesome.
And then after the surgery, he was like, come here, help me. I need to feel better.
Yeah, I can't go to my massage therapist as often as I like for budgetary reasons, but I hear the dog saying more.
Dana, it's a tax write-off.
It's a tax write-off? How did that happen?
I have a massage. I get a massage every 4 weeks because that's how I maintain my body to do what I do.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll try that.
I need to think about that one. Hey, use good massage. Actually, one of my canine clients, the parent became a human massage therapist after watching her dog get massaged. She's like, I need that. Maybe I'll learn that. Oh my God, what a school.
So Nancy, you mentioned that it's not the same as petting your dog. And I think most of us, especially those who have little lap dogs, I have a miniature dachshund, if he's nearby, our hands are always on them. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Or even Poppy, when she comes up, not only do I just, love on her, but she gets a rub down more often than not. But what is the difference? What should a pet parent understand about the difference? And maybe what are a few things that they could do at home?
Sure. So a certified massage therapist knows the anatomy and physiology. So when they're touching those muscles, they know if that muscle is not letting the leg extend, not letting the leg go backwards. Are the adductors and inductors working correctly? The pet parent might notice when the dog walks, like a hind back leg keeps slipping out, which means the adductor muscle on the inside is not holding that leg in straight with the body. And when that certified therapist touches in that area, they're going to feel that muscle is very hard. So it's not contracting and releasing in a way that helps support that leg. It's just sort of rigidly sitting against the ligaments, tendons, and bone, and the leg is just going to go out on its own. So you'll notice those areas where the dog leg doesn't maybe move forward as well, or it's shorter strides. And working with the therapist, they can develop a protocol that helps that dog to move fluidly forward, backwards, range of motion. Another thing they may notice is when they are stroking on their dog, the skin doesn't move.
Right.
You know, the dog is
That's a
enjoying
big
that,
one.
but if that fascia is restricted and in a tight knot, it's not supporting the muscles either. It's not allowing fluid movement, and that can cause pain. And our stoic little animals don't always say, oh, ouch, that hurts. They just think my body doesn't move like it's supposed to anymore. And
And I
so,
think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
so when you work with the therapist, they can help that pet parent say, okay, here's where we're seeing the issues. Here's what I can do to help it. Here's what you need to do in the interim between my visits, because there are things you as a pet parent can do. But that knowledge base, that understanding of the anatomy and physiology and the function of the muscle by the professional gives that dog a better chance of healing and having a more fulfilled, healthy life.
Right.
So
I think
it's
a
not
lot.
always just food. It's not always just this or that or drugs. There's a lot of
And
other
it's the
modalities.
combo of all those things, right? It's not one or the other, it's all of them.
No, correct.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's one of the things Jennifer talked about quite a bit was with Luce's injury, and the same with, so Poppy injured her leg about the same time. I took
Luce
a
was,
different path than Jennifer did, but
yeah,
still didn't do the surgery. But the nutrition side of managing inflammation, or the supplement side of managing inflammation, is every bit as important as that tissue and ligament and muscle and all that was going on in there.
100%.
So you talked about the tightness.
There's no one path, Dana. There's
Correct.
no strict, you got to go this direction or you got to go that direction. There's a whole lot of crossover and nuances that every specific dog has a different journey, a different path.
You talked a little bit about the tightness and the skin not moving, and I don't think people often recognize that, but we often sometimes see those little quivers, right? Where you're massaging, you can feel it quiver in there. And anybody watching that little episode that I just demonstrated is going to find that funny, but she's got the squirms. But you know, when pet parents identify that, what's obviously to call someone like you, but is there anything they can do in terms of supplements or nutrition or inflammatory management or at-home devices or essential oils? What are some of your go-tos there?
Okay, so first of all, when you touch a muscle, that dog's, come here.
He won't come now that you want him to.
No, she's over there in snooze zone. Usually she's all up in my face. Oh, she's coming. Okay, so in a young, healthy dog, what we typically feel with a muscle is a fresh chicken breast. So brand new, fresh chicken breast, right out of the package. We're getting ready to put it on the grill or the skillet or whatever. But it's spongy. It doesn't, your fingers don't sink into it. It doesn't feel squishy. It doesn't feel hard as a rock. It's just nice and firm and returns to its position. That's a healthy muscle. It's a healthy muscle in your animal. On top of that, the muscle may feel fine underneath if you're going along touching it. But the fascia above it, which is, like I said before, the connective tissue, it's through our bodies, it's through their bodies. When it becomes inflamed, it goes from being, I think Jen talked about the pickup sticks. It goes from being nice and structured to just rigid and tight, and it just doesn't move. So when you work on that area, even just as a pet parent, just with gentle circular strokes or light Swedish massage, like down a back, both sides of the backbone, you can create movement through the cells to dispense some of that inflammation and help create a softening in those tissues and allow the muscle underneath to have more support, so that when it's doing its activity, it isn't restricted by the tense, inflamed tissues on the outside of it.
Yeah. So, yeah, fascia was an interesting experience for me. Many years ago, I had a surgical procedure, and it always felt really tight. And I'm pointing because it was over here on my side, but it always felt really tight. And I've started seeing a fascia release therapist. That was her, not just massage, but she was all about the fascia. And when she didn't just massage, she would press and hold. And honest to goodness, I would hear it snapping and crackling. And I thought, I have fallen apart here. But it was just because it was so tight and so injured from that
and
scar
it adheres
tissue.
to that scar tissue. It adheres around that. Yeah, and as it releases, it will snap and crackle. We don't necessarily hear it in the dogs,
right?
They do. They will tell you. Ooh. So, oh gosh, I forgot my tuning part. Yeah, scar tissue is another big impediment to movement.
So even those people that take the surgical route or have any surgery for that matter, I think having someone like you come in once that is in a good healing process, maybe not to work directly on that area during healing, but later,
right?
Just like the results you said with how fast that dog recovered and the vet was surprised.
Yeah.
It all is part of the healing process.
It is.
What do you think about, and Angela, jump in here anytime. You know me, I run my mouth all the time, and so I've always got questions, but jump in. But what do you think about like bodies holding emotions?
Oh, definitely. So interestingly, I just completed a body energy and chakra course. It was 7 months. We covered all of the 7 chakras in the animals. They did dogs and equines was the focus. And we worked from the hind end, the root chakra, all the way through to the crown chakra. And what I noticed in doing that was, one, and this is a big one I tell my pet parents, is passive touch on certain muscle areas. It's amazing what that can do for your animal, in particular spots, because your energy in your hands, and your intention and your emotional want to heal goes into that animal in an energy way. Our animals are much more sensitive to things than we are. I could do that massage, I could work on deep tissue. I could work on those trigger points you were talking about. I could work on that scar tissue area, or really press and pull on that fascia in particular ways. And you might be like, oh, that hurts so good. The dog is going to say, oh, hell no, I'm out of here. Too much for my body. So you have to work into it. And remember that even though it's massage, it's still energy work into a sentient being that is very empathetic, very energetic, and very emotional, although they show it in completely different ways than we as humans do. I think we learn a lot watching them and watching how they express that relief, that pain, whatever energetic emotion they're going to release. You learn from them, and as a practitioner, I learn every single day from every animal different ways to touch, different different mental notifications of, okay, at this particular stage in their healing, they don't handle this, and I can kind of utilize what I learned from one dog in working on another dog with a similar issue, which that dog may take more, may take less, but you still learn from the previous.
Right. I know when you and I were talking about, preparing for this discussion, one of the things you mentioned was how sometimes we are not gentle enough.
Yes.
So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. And I do this a lot with my pet parents because they're like, oh, I go like this. And it's like, well, yes, but okay, here's my kitchen scale. Well, it's not going to really.
It's a little blurry, but we
It's
gotcha.
but okay. If you've got one and you set it on pounds and you go along thinking, okay, I'm going to do my circles like this. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you, mine came up to 1.4 pounds. The average dog, when you start doing those circles, you don't want to go past a half pound, which is really light. So a kitchen scale is a really good tool to start with for even a pet parent to kind of regulate the intensity. Now, granted, once they're past that initial half pound of structure all the way, say, down a back, or stroking down a back, they may want more, and you can increase at that point. But when you use that kitchen scale and you realize if you're stroking back and forth across the scale, wow, a half a pound is not a lot.
Right.
Especially if your dog is tiny or older with lack of muscle.
Right.
Lots of dogs, if Alice would ever wake up, I'd show you, she's 18. She looks like a rail. She has very little muscle, but she loves gentle massage on her neck. She
Right. My
loves it
dog
down.
did too.
I can work her legs. I can work what little muscle she has. Some of her muscles are even atrophied, but I can work them still by not giving her too intensive pressure. Whereas, Evie, come here, Evie. Yep. Showed it. This dog is 3, very good structure. I can rub on these muscles pretty good, right? She's probably getting 3/4 of a pound to a half pound. I'm basically moving the hair, and she's fine. And then I can increase it, and she's still fine. She's going to move because she doesn't like the position she's in. But she has healthier muscle underneath that can tolerate it. So, some places to work on your dog. Give me a minute. Let me get the old dog so I can show you. Hold on one sec.
While she's doing that, whenever I rub Poppy's neck, she caves in. She's like, could you please put more pressure there?
Oh, yeah.
So she loves it. And then Harvey, he's tiny, so in fact, he doesn't even like a whole lot. He lets me, but the deeper you go, he's like, I'm out.
Right. All my dogs are different. Okay. So can you see how thin she is?
Yeah. Bless
She's
her
18.
heart.
She is 18. But I can still, okay, so for pet parents, when you're doing this at home, you do not want to rub over the spine. There is a muscle group on each side of the spine. So I can very lightly, she probably doesn't even take a half pound. I start very calmly, just stroking. I usually start from her head down her neck, in between the scapula. The spinal cord runs in between it, but there's also muscle groups right up against the scapula. So when you're coming down,
and all those meridians are there too, right? All the
bladder meridian runs all the way from the
right.
top of the head all the way down to the, where's your stump? Oh, my hand's on it. So you can stroke down, and you can do this with both hands at the same time if your dog is laying down like a Sphynx. You can stroke down those spaces, and then a little bit more pressure as the dog allows it. And you can, she's shaking. She says, Mom, I don't understand why I'm being helped this way. But you can start to feel tight places, or you can feel where the muscles are just moving along, right? You can also do very gentle circles. This is it's kind of a T-touch method. I'm not making the little 3/4 turn or 1.5 turns, but you can do little circles, again, starting out really soft. She's not very wide before we start hitting other bones, but you can then increase your pressure as you go. And I work, like I said, I work all the way down. Dogs get really stiff in their necks.
Sure.
So
that's where Puppy holds hers.
Yeah. A lot of dogs hold a lot of tension up there, especially as the seasons change. So you can do gentle strokes up, like I am barely touching. But then as she allows more, I can go up, and then I can stroke down. And did you see that big sigh? She's like, oh, yeah. So you can do this. Alice has, her discs are collapsing, but they aren't collapsing at the top. Like you see a lot of IVD dogs, they'll collapse and they get that spine. Hers are collapsing on the side, so her neck is bent. So she really enjoys this, relaxing those muscles around it, because she gets really stiff walking crooked like that. And then also gentle strokes behind the ear. There are 2 calming points back there that if your dog is anxious, then they're very calming. And you don't have to just rub, you can just press, not press, but one of my instructors described it as Velcroing to your dog. So you're touching, and so you just feel like your fingers in the dog's skin is the same thing. You just melt into them, and holding those comfort points are really helpful. And then on the occipital bone, right in which Alice has barely any, right up from the nose, in that little groove, there's a point there, and then there's a point at the very back of the occipital bone.
Right.
They're acupressure points, but they're also
Harvey's getting it while you're teaching.
The other thing you can do is the glutes, right behind that point of hip, that pointy bone that's at the top of their hip. Right behind that and towards the tail are the glutes. You can simply hold your hands, again, like the Velcro method, on those glutes, and your hands, it's passive touch, but your hands are creating warmth into those glutes, which is, glutes and hamstrings take a lot of abuse. So you can do that on the glutes. Hamstrings, I would leave to a professional, because you can inadvertently get onto a ligament or tendon, but your hands can set there on those glutes, or even on the side on that femoral bicep, which is that big bulgy muscle on the back legs, or on the deltoids at the front.
So does that lean a little bit towards like Reiki work? Do you do any energy work?
Um, yes,
Not
and
intentionally, but it's who you are.
all I will say, most dogs, if you come at them with Reiki, oh hello, cutie pie. Come at them. I do have level 1 Reiki training, but I don't intentionally come at them with it, because most dogs will be like,
Yeah,
what's happening?
right.
But when your hands are on an animal and you have that flow, sure, there's some Reiki going on.
For sure.
I have had
Well,
dogs that
everything is energy, so that's kind of the,
everything is
even if we
sure,
don't call it that, that's kind of what's happening. But yeah.
right. And I've had dogs actually, I'll be working on a space and they will just, you just kind of feel their body go. And all of a sudden I feel tingling go all the way up my arms, all the way up into my head. And I just bust out crying because
Aw.
they've sent that sad, painful energy back into me to get rid of it from them. And then I'm like, okay, gotta shake that out and then go back to what
Right.
I'm doing. But it's an emotional connection.
So, Nancy, what about some of the techniques that are like the cupping, where you sort of cup up and down their back, or some of those more poundy exercises? What should people be
So
careful of when they try that at home?
okay. So some of those percussion type things, there are spaces in the dog's body. You should never do that over the kidneys. Older dogs, I would be very gentle about how I did that. But for me, I would, unless you've been working with a therapist and they've taught you how to do that in specific cases on your dogs, I would not just say, oh yeah, let's try that. What I could tell you to do, especially if you have an athlete or if you hike a lot with your dog, you can prepare your dog with some of those methods. It's called percussion, and you can do effleurage is just gentle stroking. It's a Swedish massage thing, and it was what I was kind of showing you on Alice, of just gently stroking down the body. You can do it with your whole hand too, just stroking down the body, kind of warming up their bodies, doing that same stroking down front legs and back legs. And then on those the big muscle in the leg, which on a dog looks like a boomerang. It goes from the scapula towards the front of the shoulder and then back. So it's shaped like a little bit of a boomerang, but on this portion from the scapula to the point of the shoulder is bigger and heavier on most dogs. You can, after you've warmed them up a little bit, you can sort of gently cup your hands, and you can do it from both sides, but you can just sort of pat your dog. But again, it's gentle. It's not, I'm thumping a watermelon. It's a gentle poof, 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 kind of like you just patted your baby. But you're doing that on those muscles, boom, 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 to try to, you're warming up that muscle, and you're bringing in some of the energy that it's going to need to move. And especially on its back legs, bigger dogs, you can do it side by side with the muscle. Come here, Evie, you can do this because you like this one. So you're just cupping your hand a little bit and creating a bit of a vacuum in there. You can kind of hear it.
Yep.
But it's not heavy.
Right. What about things like Tweena? When people start hearing that, they're like, oh, that sounds weird. But tell us about what it is, what it does, why it matters.
It's a rolling of the muscles. And what it does is, sorry, phone was not too bad. What it does is, come here. you can do this. You're okay. It's definitely something a professional should do. My vet, actually, she's a Chinese, a TCVM trained veterinarian.
Awesome.
And
We love that.
she taught me the way to do it, where you're basically moving the fascia and you're pushing with your thumbs and rolling with your fingers, and you work all the way down a body across the fascia points. So it stretches and releases that fascia and helps it to get more fluid.
Mhm.
So that's quinoa. Myofascial release, there's more intense protocols for it. I am not trained in myofascial release except from the quinoa perspective and in just working through releasing fascia. But you can go more in depth if you've got a dog that's really in a rigid state and needs more support than just that. And if you target with some myofascial release, which I can do, if a dog has a trigger point, so if you're doing your gentle strokes and all of a sudden you touch a point, the dog, you feel that muscle just go ching 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 ching, and just trigger. That's a trigger point, and some gentle quinoa and stretching of that fascia in different directions. Or there's a method where you can take your fingers and find the release points. It's part of the body energy work. You can find the release points to that fascia and you can get rid of those trigger points. Or a tuning fork. Tuning forks are great for releasing restrictions around scar tissue and for releasing fascial tightness and trigger point areas. I have a greyhound that I work on, and he is a trigger point nightmare. I would get everything released down his back, and I'd come back and right behind the scapula, starting down the back where all the muscles from the ribs go up into a little point. Right behind there, he would just twitch. I would barely touch him. He'd be like, ugh. And I couldn't get rid of them. I'd get rid of them for a day or two and they would be right back. Tuning fork, he'll hold for the whole week. And it just releases those trigger points.
And this is, I don't know the answer. I have
Okay.
I have a set of tuning forks. There's like, how many keys are there? Was it 8? But does it matter which one you use?
I use 128 hertz.
Okay.
And I have a lapis point on it, so I can use. You don't want the fork portion where the things are vibrating, the heads are vibrating. You don't want to touch that to the dog, and you definitely never want to use it on a fracture. It will hurt like the dickens. But the pointed end with that lapis crystal on it, it'll glide along the muscle and fascia, and you can hear it in the tuning fork vibrations when it starts to hit an area that is rigid and needs release. It gets sticky. It doesn't glide across. It kind of sticks in those spaces. And when you hit that space, you can hold that tuning fork up. It'll die pretty quickly. And you can restart it, move up a bit and start back and just keep working your way down until you can release that. There are courses in it.
Are there any dogs that don't qualify for massage? A cancer dog, seizure dog?
Sure. Seizure dogs, the things I avoid is, okay, let's back up. There are times when you never massage. You've just given antibiotics to your dogs. You want to wait because a massage the very next day is going to push that antibiotic right through the body, and it's not going to do the dog any good. So you typically wait 7 days before you get a massage if you're on an antibiotic. You don't massage dogs with fevers. You don't massage open wounds. You don't massage a surgical site. Seizures, I work on an epileptic dog, and he accepts massage. I don't do PEMF on him,
Right.
but I do massage. Cancer dogs. Massage circulates, it increases the circulation in the dog. It increases the blood flow. If a dog has cancer in a certain area and you massage that dog, you could potentially spread that cancer. Where it might just be isolated, you might spread it. So if the client is going to go through a cancer protocol and do radiation or chemo or, you know, whatever they decide to do to treat that cancer, you want to avoid any sort of massage, laser, light therapy. You don't want to do any of that and increase the risk of spreading that cancer. If they're going to go past that and say, we're just going to keep him comfortable while he goes, you know, through this, you can do comfort massages because it does help them with pain, because you know what the end game is going to be. What else do you not massage? If the dog has lymphoma.
Thyroid? Oh, okay.
Lymphoma. Oh, thyroid. Never massage over the thyroid. Never, ever, ever laser over the thyroid. I work the muscles to the sides, and there's some lymphatic drainage you can do through body work along the ears and the mandibular area that helps with the flow to drain that lymphatic stuffiness for them. But you're not going to work over the thyroid. Dogs with laryngeal paralysis, there's specific places you can work and specific methods you can work on, but you're not going to massage this front throat area. I don't think I missed anything.
So you were talking about making sure there's a window between taking antibiotics and doing massage because of the release. Is there similar precautions? For instance, like if you're doing other forms of body work that you should be waiting. So as an example would be acupuncture. So if my dog had acupuncture and aquapuncture in one day, should I wait a certain period before we add something like massage into that layered approach?
Yeah, I would not do everything in one day. Remember, acupuncture is triggering the chi, which is the energy flow of the body. So if you add massage right on top of that, you're overloading that dog with too much energy. And they just can't handle it. They're very energetic creatures, and so you're going to overwhelm them. So I tell my clients, if you're getting acupuncture, I would wait a couple days to get massage. Or, you know, we try to time it. So, like chiropractic work, I try to do the massage the day before, get those muscles nice and relaxed. They go see the chiropractor the next day. When the chiropractor actually moves those bones back where they belong, those sore muscles aren't shoving that bone right back where it was. That muscle has had a chance to relax. And then the chiropractic performance holds. With antibiotics, I say wait 7 days, let that antibiotic get started in them, and then we want to start working that out of their system. We don't want to overload the liver, so we want to start working that out. And vaccines, I won't massage, if the client says, oh, we're going to the vet, can we have our massage tomorrow? I won't do it for a couple of days. One, that injection site is sore. It's in a muscle. So I don't want to create a painful area so that every time I come to that area, the dog goes, she hurt me last time. So I usually wait a couple days on that. And then, yeah, massage helps to detox some of that excess vaccine load.
Yeah. What about aftercare? I know, like, after I've had a good massage and my body has been all out of whack, I'll take like a good Epsom soak, and like help flush all of that stuff out.
So for the first 24 hours, I say lots of fluids, lots of fluids. And people say, oh, my dog doesn't drink much. So water down their food. Just add, if you already put water in your dog's food, add extra. Do what you can to get as much fluid through them, because that's what flushes the lymphatic system that you stimulated with that massage, yours or theirs.
Yeah.
So lots of fluids. Wish we could dump them in an Epsom bath, but I don't think that's going to actually work on any of the dogs. So yeah, lots of fluids. If they are sore, and again, let me just stress, massage therapy from a certified therapist does not replace veterinary care. And any of the suggestions I make to, other than lots of water, any suggestions I make are my own personal observations and not recommended
treatments.
Pharmaceutical care. I will say, after a good massage, especially with a really sore dog, a dose of arnica really helps those muscles to kind of calm down. So, and it won't hurt the dog. I'm a big proponent for homeopathic care. So I will make suggestions. I don't say, yes, give them this dose. I'll say, well, it could help. It's up to the pet parent to say, okay, I'll try it. Yeah. And I always work with the vet. A certified therapist will always either contact the vet or make sure the owner has contacted the vet to make sure that they're aware of the massage happening, because some states a certified massage therapist has to work under direct oversight of a veterinarian, or like in my state, you have to have a veterinarian that is that you work with, that, like my vet, I let her know what kind of cases I'm working on, so that I have oversight. And occasionally she'll say, you might want to check with their vet on that one. So for instance, I have the epileptic dog. We contacted her neurologist before we worked on the dog because we were going to use the PEMF mat. And the neurologist said, oh, no, we're not using a PEMF mat on this epileptic dog. Now, whether or not PEMF is necessarily good or bad for a neurological issue, this particular neurologist said no. So we did that. We followed what they said.
Right.
So it's always good to talk to your vet first. I have another client with a long past tumor that was removed that he will not allow me to work on the shoulder area because he doesn't want to trigger any other issues in that area where he had done surgery. Okay. Do I agree? I'm not the vet. I didn't go to 4 years of vet school. So I'll do what he says.
So, just a quick question on behalf of the pet parents who call you and say, I want to make an appointment. And they get there and their dog's like, not having it.
Oh, here's another thing. They don't come to me.
Okay.
I go to them.
Okay.
Your pet is going to be much calmer and much more receptive in an environment where he's comfortable. Coming to a strange house with strange smells may not work for that dog.
Fair enough. But you get there and the dog, they all have whatever their thing is. And they're like,
Yeah,
I just don't want to be touched, or I will only tolerate 10 minutes versus the 40 you scheduled, or whatever it may be.
sure.
Um, Dogs need to build a relationship and trust and all of those things. And so, what do you say to the pet parent who's like, my dog doesn't like it?
I always, so my initial intake form, I respond to the client and I say, I'm going to suggest once a week for a minimum of 3 weeks to establish trust between me and your dog, to allow the dog to accept this body work and to become accustomed to it happening to them and being touched in places that they may or may not be comfortable, like in between their legs or their uh, obliques, lower part of their belly. They may not like
Right.
touch them. I have one dog that's not neutered. Oh my God, do not get near his hamstrings. He's like, whoa, he freaks out. So that once a week for 3 weeks helps establish that bond with that dog for me. And I gauge each progressive meeting with how much they tolerated the last time versus how much they tolerate this time. And at the beginning, most every dog I've ever worked on will allow 10, 15 minutes, and then they get up and they shake off and they go get a drink of water, and then they come back and they're like, okay, I can handle a little bit more. We may not have a full therapeutic session the first time. It may be just a good first layer, second layer, and not even any deeper than that. And that's fine. I'm building that trust with that animal so that he allows it more and more. And then we gauge, is this a healthy enough dog that it can go every 2 weeks? Can it go every 3 weeks? Can it go once a month? I have clients all across the spectrum, once a month, every week. I have one dog that gets weekly massages, and in between gets weekly laser treatments, because that's what supports that particular dog.
Right. Awesome. Angela, do you have other questions?
I have one more question that I've been thinking about.
Okay.
So other than the comfort massage you talked about, obviously we're doing musculoskeletal orthopedic issues. You mentioned the dog that had cancer. What are some of the more significant things that you've targeted with massage that sort of stand out to you?
In an end of life situation, or just overall in my practice?
I'm just curious, like what sort of cases you've been called in to help with that might
The
not be,
amazing case study.
Yes.
The big win.
So in this particular instance, Facebook was my friend. At a client.
That's rare.
Right. We shared right, totally. We shared the same vet. And my dog had, my Great Dane that just passed had glaucoma from birth. And her pressure had gotten out of control. This client's dog had gotten an eye injury, and we were both at the eye vet in Mechanicsville, which is an hour away from us, for care the same day. And she posted about it on Facebook. And then a week later, she said, oh, we just took little dog to the vet, and it has luxating patella, and the vet's going to refer us to an orthopedic surgeon for correction. The dog was a year and a half, not quite a year and a half. And I typed in, and the vet's like, yep, that's what I did. And because she's on Facebook too. And I said, so Doc, why didn't you suggest massage? It could help. And she goes, oh, well, I didn't even think about it. Yes, it could help. So the client, she became a client. She called and she goes, okay, I'll book an appointment to see if we can fix this. That dog never had surgery. I'm not going to say I fixed it, but I supported those muscles and got those muscles strong enough so that they stayed in line and gave that stretched out ligament time to repair so that it
Stability,
quit
amazing.
popping out of its socket.
Yeah.
The dog is 6 now, never had surgery.
That's awesome.
That same client had a mobility dog to support her body. She had this, the woman had vestibular disease, and the dog was her support, physical support. In the harness, and the way the dog had to walk slightly bent into the client to support her and protect her as she moved forward, the dog developed compensatory issues along that bend, where it was, her muscles got sore, and she straightening herself back up became difficult. And the way the harness moved against those muscles created concerns. And so she started massage with that dog. And again, we help those muscles support the body, the skeletal structure, to stay in line so that she could keep doing her job. And she's 8 now, still supporting her owner.
Wow.
I love that. One of the things that's been on my mind for a long time now, and I'm trying to work with a group who places service dogs with veterans, is like, how do we keep those dogs healthy, longevity, doing their job? And that is such an important piece of the puzzle, right? It's not just the dog's trained to help you get up from a seated position, or if you fall, or to prevent the fall. It's that dog's body is working sometimes in not awkward ways. That's not what I'm trying to say, but maybe it is. But that dog's body is compensating for yours.
They're overexerting.
What's that?
Even if it's not a mobility dog, if it's a PTSD dog,
for sure, the mental and emotional work that dog has to do. And so I'm like, how do
if there's a harness that pulls,
how do we support those dogs through the work that they do, and what is their aftercare? I think that I see, my observation is that is overlooked relatively often.
It is. It is. I've worked with a couple of that mobility service dog, and I've worked with a couple that are dogs supporting veterans with severe PTSD. Those dogs are on all the time. So, and the dog and the trainer are taught there's downtime and what that looks like for whoever trained them. Whoever trained them, they teach that owner how that downtime looks. But keeping
that's not necessarily recovery. That's just time off the clock.
Correct. Yeah. So if you add massage into that, and you work on, keeping that lymphatic system, circulatory system, energy system, muscle structure supported, when they go into that recovery time, which is, I think for most dogs daily, there is a recovery portion where they're off the clock, so to speak. Then their bodies actually heal. One veteran I work with, he got a PIMF mat on my advice, and that dog goes to her PIMF mat on stress mode, and she sleeps for an hour and lets her body reset and recover from whatever that day's activity was, which a lot of times might be going to the Veterans Administration, might be going to doctor's appointments, or for veterans that have PTSD, just sometimes being out in public in a restaurant and a dropped fork is enough to just set them off. So it's that dog a moment, just whew.
And I love the PMF mats. I mean, I just love them. I I bought one for my senior dogs. I had 2 that lived to 20. So, and then in Poppy's recovery, she used it. I liked it so much, I bought the human version for me and the wearable device. And now
you don't just use your dogs. That's what I do. I'm like, okay, this body part.
No, we both needed one.
Oh, I
And
have
now,
3. So
yep. And now I really love the new wearable device by
yeah.
Resona. Have you seen that?
I
It looks
well,
like a little cell.
I have a
No,
pimp.
that's the Halo, right? But this is like
Well, this
it's no bigger than your phone. They
yeah.
actually
Yes.
make, and the human and the dog can share the same device. They make a little harness that has a pouch in it. The dog can wear it. The human can put it in a pocket or on a lanyard. But
Mhm.
their studies are showing relief to those veterans with PTSD by just wearing the
Mhm.
device. I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah. So pimp, just quick sidebar. If you were to look at a stressed out person or a stressed out dog, and you could look at their individual cells, those cells are just coagulated all over the place. They're bumping into
Right.
each other. They're just a mess. Pimp helps to spread them out so that all the neuron activity and everything has space to move. So the
Mm-hmm.
circulatory system can get the oxygen to all those cells so they function correctly, and it just brings
Right.
that angst down. So, but what I will say with pimp with with a laser, um,
Well, that's a
and
fancy
I'll talk.
laser you
I'm
got
going to talk
there.
about my new class 4 handheld. I want to briefly talk about laser in a second. Um, red light therapy. This will not hurt your eyes if I actually turn it on. Red light therapy. Any of these things, which is my only qualm with a pimp wearable device on your dog, is if you have acclimated your dog to pimp and they're accepting of it, fine. But in any of these modalities, including massage, if the dog gets up and leaves, they need that avenue to leave. When they have
Right.
had enough, they physically need to escape. So something that's like, I don't even strap the red lights onto the dogs. If they want out from
Yeah.
under it, let them go, because they
That
know
makes
what their
sense.
bodies can tolerate. Now the little calming pimp things that you can attach to the collars, my dogs are all accustomed to pimp mat. Most of them sleep on one at night. I don't mind
Mm-hmm.
putting that on them, like, okay, we're going into fireworks or big crowds or what have you. I don't mind putting that on to keep them calm and keep their bodies calm, because they, one, can't get away from it, but they're acclimated and I know they accept it. And if you watch them, they will twitch, they will get anxious, they will be looking around, kind of spastic in the eyeballs. And it's like, okay, time to take that off of them so you can remove
Yeah.
it. But if you aren't comfortable with how your dog reacts to pimp, then allow them to get away from it if they need to.
For sure.
Okay,
So,
so
Nancy, we're running a little long. You wanted to mention a couple of other things, but let's get to those and we'll wrap it up.
okay, just real quick on
We'll
the
have you back
laser.
if we need to.
There are there are a, and like red light therapy, there are a lot of things out there on Amazon. Be very cautious about that. And maybe I know you are an affiliate with some of these companies, as am I. Talk to somebody before you purchase something off of Amazon so you can make sure you're getting something that's got quality, either lasers or quality infrared lights in them. Cheaper is not always better.
Keep is not
And,
good.
and I will say, one of the companies I work with, I don't have it with me. I've actually leased it to one of my clients who's working on cruise ship recovery following Jennifer's book. And so I leased it to them to keep going in between his hydrotherapy sessions. But there, that company releases a class 3D laser that is safe for home use. And you can talk to somebody about getting, exactly what do I do for my dog, but you can use it in between. This one is a class 4. I would say it's the same as the ones you see at the veterinarian's office. I think theirs are a tiny bit stronger. Well, surely they're stronger, and they have a lot more protocols set up in them.
Right.
I would leave those to somebody that's been certified in how to use one, because you can burn your
Right.
eyes. You can also injure your dog.
Sure.
So just be cognizant that if you're doing that, even if you're going to the vet, make sure that vet has been trained in, or the technician that's going to do the therapy, make sure they're trained in it. And don't be afraid to ask. It's your dog. Advocate for
Right.
your dog. You know, does that person know how to use it? Yes, they've been through the courses. Okay, fine. Well, we're teaching her. Okay, then you need to be in there with my dog while it's getting that laser. And don't be
Mhm.
afraid to say that.
Is there a governing board like TCVM has a website that you can register if you've been trained so we can go and verify? Like if I call up this person and want to do massage, I can verify they actually were professionally trained?
So there's a couple ways you can go about it. There are boards. NBCAAM has a list of providers, and IAAMBC. I'll look it
You
up for
can
you.
message me and I'll put
I'll
it in the
message you
notes.
and tell you what they are. They're two animal bodywork associations that will provide a list of certified personnel, and and there's three of them actually. I'll send all three of them to you, of people who are certified. But I will say not every certified therapist is on those boards, because they cost to be members of
Yeah.
them, and some of the memberships are super expensive. We're not
Right.
making a fortune doing this job, so they don't get on there. But you can
Yeah.
look up massage therapist in my area, or you can contact me and I'll help you source one. And ask them questions. What are your certifications? Who did you go through? Can you show me a license or a certification? And I have those, and I can say,
Right.
yes, my certifications. If they have CCMT or FCMT, which is feline, CCMT is canine, or ECMT, which is equine, after their name, they most generally, unless they're non-ethical,
We
have
don't
been
want those people anyway.
through a certification. And we do follow an ethics when we're working on an animal. We aren't here to do them harm. We're very much like a medical professional. We're not
And
about,
insurance. You have to have insurance to do this.
yes,
Yeah.
I am licensed through an insurance corporation that covers massage therapists, that covers a broad range of massage therapists, but they
Right.
cover me. So yes,
Awesome.
sure you find somebody certified and licensed and insured. And
So
state to state, it is different. And you can look up veterinary certifications for your state to see like acupuncture for my state. I don't know about every state, but I know if you do acupuncture, you have to be board certified veterinarian to do that. Same for chiropractic.
Yep.
Massage, you have to be in direction of a veterinarian.
Because
State of
trust
North
me,
Carolina,
if I could get certified, I would. They just won't let me.
right. Well, and the same thing with rehab
Tried.
therapists. A licensed
Yeah.
rehab therapist, canine or animal therapist, you have to be a licensed veterinary technician first. And I think that's probably across the board, because the certification is in Tennessee or Kentucky. But yeah, there are some things you have to have before you can get these certifications. So yeah.
Well, Nancy, this has been highly educational for me. Angela, any last questions from you?
I think
I know
that's
you
all the
probably-
annoying questions I have.
Yeah, you got good dogs to go feed. Nancy, any final remarks or encouragements or anything you want to add?
This is a modality that helps any age of animal. From young dogs, it helps with behavior, to old dogs in their, their golden years and their aches and pains, or
Well, and
injuries,
even at their final ceremony.
or
Yeah.
even at their final ceremony. Yes.
Yeah.
But I want to say that don't negate that my dog is healthy and it doesn't need this. If you have done massage on this animal, either monthly, bi-monthly, every 2 months, whatever span of time you think is appropriate for that stage of your pet's life, if you have helped those muscles stay healthy throughout its life, when they do have an injury, like I'll use Jennifer's dog Luce as an example. We'd been doing massage. When she injured herself, I could come in and do something to help with that acute injury so that it wasn't a chronic situation she was dealing with, right? The dog had healthy muscles.
But thank you very much for your time. It was really informative.
Yes,
It was
thank
a
you,
pleasure
Nancy.
being here. Thank
All
you
right.
both.
You have a great day. Thank you.
Listening to Dogsplaining, we know you've got a lot of choices when it comes to dog advice. We appreciate you trusting us to keep it honest and helpful.
If today's episode helped you understand your dog's needs more clearly, share it with someone who may also need to hear it. And don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
For more resources, visit us online or join the conversation in our community. We'll be back soon with more insight into your dog's behavior, health, and wellness. Questions welcome, and we love guests.
Until then, keep listening to Dogsplaining.